Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome to today's video. For those of you who are new, this may be your first time joining me here on this channel, coming across one of my videos, and you're not yet, keyword yet, subscribed. Welcome, my name is Tyler with an O, and for those of you who are already subscribed, already my people, and are just returning for another video, welcome on back. Let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, let's go ahead and address the title of this video. So, what are we going to be talking about on today? Let me tell ya. The title of this video is going to be something alluding to, like, you know, how to trick your first date, how to fool your first date, how to fool your first grinder hookup, girl. T. Because, you know, I'm guilty, you know, of doing such things. Now, let me explain. Basically, what today's video is going to be, this is going to be very helpful, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be in the context that I just mentioned, but for those of you who like very, very minimal, unclockable makeup, okay, this is the video for you. So today's video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on how to do the most minimal, the most unclockable to get a semi-flawless but still flawed appearance, if you know what I'm saying. And like I said, I've used these techniques in my personal life. You know, I get the compliments.
Oh, you have such perfect skin. Oh, you have such nice eyebrows. Oh, your skin looks so moisturized.
Yeah, girl. All of that. We gonna go ahead and get into that right now. We are going to start with our brows. So, you know, this is my bare brow. Yeah, no. It's working on like a little bit of a shape. I do like, you know, pluck my eyebrows myself and whatnot. And you know, it's cute or whatever, but we want them to be snatched. But not like makeup snatch, just like, oh wow, do you get your eyebrows threaded? That's the response I get from whenever I do this, is like, oh my god, do you get your eyebrows threaded? Do you get a wax? Like, where do you go? You have such nice brows. Like, you know, things like, so that's what we're going for. I do also want to emphasize this applies to the first date. Okay, you might have already spent the night on the first date. In the morning after, girl, he clocked your tea. So for the eyebrows, I'm gonna go ahead and take my Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is my brow wiz, and I like this one because it's very precise and defined, you know, yes. And what we're gonna do, I mean, it's nothing special. We're basically gonna fill in our brows. Not necessarily fill them in, but just give them shape. So if you're used to, like, you know, filling in and drawing in your whole brow, don't. What we're gonna do is basically just fill in any sparseness and make sure all of our lines are full, if that makes sense. Por ejemplo, in the front of my brow is already pretty full. I really don't need to do much to it. However, I do just want to have like a nice, more solid line at the base. So I'm just ever so lightly just filling in a little bit at the base of my brow. Just like so, you know, nothing major. And then I'm just gonna go through and just do little short strokes along the base of the brow. Now over here at the tails of my brows is where I get more of like the sparseness. So I'm gonna just be putting a little bit more product than the front over at the end. So honestly, the bottom of my brow is already done. It's just the top can use a little help over here. So yeah, that brow is very, like, you know, defined. But then we're gonna go in with our spoolie and kind of diffuse that and blur it out, just to make it look very natural. You'll probably see more of it on this brow because, as you can see, like, this brow has a lot of little bald spots in it. So we're really about to see the magic over here. And I know, like, when you see like natural brow tutorials, they're like, do nice little hair strokes, upward motion to resemble hair stroke. Look, girl, cut the shit, okay? Because I'm gonna go in with the spoolie and brush it anyway, and that's basically gonna smudge all of those little hair strokes that we just made, so it don't even matter. Now I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And like I said, this is where I have like a lot less hair. So I'm really just gonna like draw in the shape that I want. Boom. You see that? You see that? And mind you, I'm not coloring in my brow because you can still see a little bit of, like, you know, my skin coming through. My brows are naturally, I don't want to say patchy, but they're naturally like thin. They're not dark and blocky. So I didn't make them dark and blocky because that's not natural. As promised, I'm going to go through with my spoolie and just blur that out a little bit. Make sure there's no harsh lines, you know, you feel? So yeah, that is that on my brows. I'm not done yet. This stuff is completely optional. This is good for like if you wanted to do just something quick on the go, you know, fill in your brows a little bit and go out the door. I can totally leave it just like this. But for people who like to be, you know, very snatched, you want to look very polished, what you're gonna do, instead of going in with a lighter concealer to carve out your brow like you normally would, you're gonna use your foundation color. So I'm gonna use my Born This Way Too Faced foundation in the shade Caramel, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of, just honestly like 1 pump or less. Like we really don't need much. As you can see, it matches my skin, so the brows aren't gonna look highlighted, highlights or anything like that. And then you just take your little brush, and I have to explain this, but this used to be a concealer, but it's empty. I just really like the applicator, so I still use it. So I'm gonna take the little brush with my foundation, and I'm just gonna carve out my brow like you normally would. Now, another thing, when I do this, when you're carving out your brows, we're not gonna apply any concealer to the top. A lot of people are used to doing the concealer to the top. No, you can achieve a snatched brow by just doing the bottom. Honestly, the bottom part is what really is gonna like, you know, just making that nice crisp line underneath. You do not have to do the top. So that's one side done. I didn't blend it out yet, but I just wanted to show you. Now I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, so there are both brows with the concealer or foundation, excuse me, right under them in the bottom. You probably can barely see it because I use such little product and because it matches my skin so well, but I haven't even blended it out. So now I'm just gonna go in with a little brush, and I'm going to blend out the foundation just like I normally would. Okay, perfect. So now both eyebrows are done. They look nice and natural and snatched. If you guys remember the before, especially on this brow, you remember it was just bald and looking reckless, girl. And now look at her. Now, moving on to the most important part, and that is the skin. Ooh, wait till y'all see how I step this skin up though. Like, just wait for it. First thing that we're gonna do is spot conceal and correct. So what this means is we're just gonna go into problem areas or areas that we are gonna need just like a little bit more coverage, even though we're not like really covering, but we are covering technically. Por ejemplo, I have, you know, some shadow here from shaving that's growing back. Then over here, I just have a little bit of irritation from shaving as well. I have a little bump right here. So just things like that. We're not gonna go in heavy with anything on the skin. Again, this is supposed to look light and natural. So what I would recommend is take a thick concealer, like a concealer pot type of thing. And this one is by Becca, and this is in the shade Syrup, and it's the Becca Ultimate Coverage Concealing Cream. And it's just something thick like this that matches your skin tone. Not a highlighting concealer, something skin tone colored, okay? Then I'm just gonna take a little bit of that on a brush, not a lot, and I'm going to apply that ever so lightly. Look at the sides. Look at this side compared to this side. Low key, we are like color correcting. That's why I said concealing / correcting. The only thing is that normally to cancel darkness, you would want to use like an orange color corrector or something. But because we're not going in with heavy foundation over it, that we're not covering that orange with anything. So that's why I'm using a skin tone concealer instead of an orange correcting concealer, if that makes sense. You know what, not if that makes sense. You need to understand that does make sense. We are not gonna be going in with a full face of foundation because we're doing minimal natural makeup. You can color correct underneath foundation because your foundation covers the orange. I can't put orange on and then be walking around with an orange beard, okay? Because people are gonna see it, I'm not putting foundation on. You get my drift. Okay, so there we go, mustache corrected, girl. I'm gonna put a little bit on this bump right here. And my goal in this isn't to make it invisible. Like, you can clearly see that there's some texture there, and you can see that there's some like little bumps there. It's just not as apparent as it was before. And I also have just a little bit over here. And you guys, I'm using very little. Like, I'm literally just tapping my brush in once, and that's literally enough. So now, one of my biggest beauty secrets to achieve perfect skin, pay attention. What we're gonna do is go in with your daily face moisturizer. I use Cetaphil, so I'm just gonna go in with just a little pump of Cetaphil, not much. And then I'm going to take my foundation and I'm basically gonna make my own, let's say, tinted moisturizer, if you will. And so for this, I'm just gonna take just like a little teensy bit, just a little amount. If you guys can see that, that's how much I took. So this is the moisturizer, obviously, and then that's how much foundation I used. Basically just mix those together. And the whole thing is gonna turn the shade of your foundation because that foundation has a lot more pigment, obviously, than the lotion, so it kind of overpowers it. And then basically we're going to put that on our face. And it's gonna be a very light layer, okay? So really you can just dab your beauty sponge in once. I actually suggest using a beauty sponge for this and not a brush, just because like pressing it in the skin is gonna give it a very natural finish. We're pressing that concealer with the sponge too. As you can see, I still have that much on my hand. I'm just gonna take the rest of that and do the other side. Okay, perfect. So now we have our seemingly, you know, clear skin. We're looking very hydrated, very natural. As you can see, we can still see a little bit of the blemishes. Again, it wasn't to vanish the blemishes, it was just to make them appear less noticeable. So now people are gonna be like, oh my god, like your skin is so clear, your skin is so hydrated, like it just looks like so fresh and so clean. Now we're gonna brighten up the under eyes. We still want to look, you know, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. So I'm gonna take my concealer, and now, again, we're not doing a lot, not too much. So normally where you would draw like the big V under your eye and everything like that, no, honey. What we're gonna do, we can honestly just like that. We're actually gonna use the concealer just for what it is for, to conceal dark circles, not to highlight, not anything like that. So I do have a little bit of darkness under the eye. This is enough concealer just for that purpose. So I'm gonna go ahead with my sponge and just kind of blend that out under my eye. And like, look at that. You see how brightened this side looks compared to this side? Okay, cute. So there is that. You know, we're looking nice and snatched and even and bright under the eyes. We're looking alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. So now we're just gonna set that just a little bit, and I'm gonna use my Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. I'm not using a white powder or a banana powder or anything. I'm using something that's closer to my complexion, and I'm gonna take some of that on the same sponge. I'm gonna dab it in here, but I'm not gonna go in heavy like that. What I'm now gonna do is just dab off all of that excess on the back of my hand. And then once we've dabbed that off, now I'm gonna go in the under eye and just lightly pat that on. Go over the lid as well. Then I can go back on the back of my hand for the other side. Also, I'm gonna take the rest of this powder and put it over like my mustache, because I did put a lot of concealer there. And then it's also gonna add just a little bit more coverage. Put it over here where I also put a lot of concealer, and put it over here as well. So yes, we did apply some powder. So fear not, we are going to bring the moisture back into the face and bring back that natural skin dewiness that we got from our moisturizer. So just going with some setting spray, I'm gonna use the rest of my, because she's empty, girl, I'm gonna use the rest of my Fix Plus, and I'm going to douse myself. Okay, perfect. So that went ahead and melted that little bit of setting powder that we put on. Now we just look nice and hydrated and dewy again. And we have one more step and then we're done, I promise. We're gonna go in with a little bit of highlighter. Naturally, when the sun hits you and light reflects off your skin, it doesn't reflect pink. It doesn't reflect, okay, trophy wife gold. It doesn't reflect this unicorn skin. No, you're going to choose a highlighter that has, now look at my skin right now. Let's look at my nose because it's shiny right now. You see it reflects white. I mean, you know, like it's a whitish type of glow. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this bronzer that I have from e.l.f. And I'm using this because this is the color it is. It's almost like a champagne-y silver type of glow. And that is what is most natural and skin-like to my skin. So I'm going to go in with a brush, use something fluffy that's not too dense and concentrated, lightly brush into that, and just go ahead and put that on the points where you naturally have a glow. So in points like right here, you can see it yourself, right here where I'm already shining, that's where I'm going to go in with the highlighter because that's where I naturally shine. So I'm not necessarily creating a glow, I'm just enhancing the glow that I already have. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. So, you know, work your angles, find your glow, boom, right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this right on top. So the next step is just to put on a little bit of mascara. You don't want to use a spider legs mascara that's going to make your eyelashes all big and clumpy and everything like that because that's not natural. I use my Dior Show mascara just because it really like separates and kind of darkens, but it doesn't make them like voluminous and bushy and sticky and clumpy. So I'm just gonna go in with just a light little layer of mascara. And then the only thing left is the lips, honestly. And for this, you can put on a lip gloss if you want, especially I know a lot of girls like to wear lip gloss on a daily, whatever you can. For me, honestly, I just go in with a little bit of my Carmex lip balm, okay? And I'll just put that on. Perfect, and the lips are nice and moisturized. Okay, and the look is served. Now you're ready to go on your little Tinder date, you know, your grinder hookup, your first date, whatever the case might be. You are now ready to go to the grocery store and pull a trade, okay? The skin is looking nice and even and flawless, you know, we're looking very hydrated. Skin is just glowing from within. Eyebrows are snatched. Is it microbladed? Is it waxed? Is it threaded? Girl, the world may never know. Again, this is also just some good tips for people who, you know, maybe don't have time to do a full face, maybe don't want to do a full face, or just don't know how to use their makeup in a way that enhances and not necessarily like transforms and everything like that. So if you're looking for something minimal, then I hope you learned something, a little technique from this video here today. Comment down below on what you thought and what you would like to see here on this channel. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and more importantly, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more of this Tyler with the No goodness. And I will catch you all on my next video. Peace. Wow, my eyebrows really did transform. Like, these brows was looking bald, girl. Either way, I got brows on now. That part. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Is that even still their slogan?